You got a restaurant next door. Wannabe's karaoke. Wait a minute. You could go to the brick house and then go to karaoke afterwards? This is not right. So basically, so you had where's the cottage, by the way?
It's 2 blocks from here.
Okay, well,
Just down the road. Same street.
same street.
Yeah, it's number 8 Keller versus number 140.
And so then I think it was January that you found this place.
Yeah, so we, TWiT started in 2005. I was in the upstairs smallest room in that cottage by myself. And we just slowly expanded. By the beginning of this year, we were 16 people jammed in a tiny, tiny space. But even worse than that, at least from my point of view, was all of the video production was done in the same room with really a setup that was well designed, I think, for one person, but terrible for any more than one person.
Yeah.
We just really weren't able to do the shows. I hated how they looked. I just felt like this is really getting in our way. So I had been walking by here. Actually, my former assistant, Dane, was the first person to tell me about this particular building about a year ago. He said, this is, it's the old Bias Sound was here. And they had moved out. This place has been vacant for 2 years. So we're walking by, we're peering through the window, and I can't really tell. It looks okay. So then my business partner, Lisa, actually came over, looked at it. We found out the rent was really cheap because they haven't been able to lease it for 2 years. And as it turns out, you couldn't have designed a better space to do what we want to do. A couple of things I wanted. I needed a big floor space. This is 9,400 square feet, so we can build a studio. That takes a lot of open space.
Yeah.
But I also wanted storefront windows in front of it. I wanted people to be able to look in the window and see what we were doing. I thought that was kind of fun. This is the idea, and for us to be able to look out the window and see what's going on outside. It gives it a sense of place. It gives it some excitement. It's not, most TV studios and radio studios, you're kind of hidden away in the dark.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to be part of the world. So it had that. It has a 6,400 square foot basement. That's really great because, in the old cottage, it was a historic building. We couldn't put a nail in the wall. We couldn't do anything. It's 100 years old, but we can do it. So we drill, when you put in a desk or a studio set or whatever, you see we drill holes in the floor, and it goes down to the basement, and all of the hot, noisy electronics is in the basement. Everything up here is cool and quiet.
I heard the hot tub's in the basement too.
Shh, that's secret. Actually, I've been trying to get Lisa to let me build a hot tub down there, and she won't.
No, it's not. It's a little bit shorter than what you would want for.
Well, and that's really I think of the basement as a very large, very high raised floor, because when you build a TV or radio station or a computer facility, you always have a raised floor that all the wiring can go under. Well, this down there it's 6 feet plus, but it's not to code. So the fire marshal won't let us put people down there. We can't. And the good news is we don't have to pay rent for that reason. Okay. So we just got this great. It's like a raised floor that happens to be 6 feet tall. So plenty of room to walk down there. Plenty of room for all of our gear, and it's great storage facility. So one of the issues for us had been in the past. People send us stuff, we had nowhere to put it. We couldn't take anything. We couldn't old computer gear or products to review. We just had nowhere to put it. Well, now we got plenty of space, and that really helps us a lot.
Yeah, I know. I have my studio put in my basement, and it's just like
you need a basement for your basement.
I need a basement for my basement.
Yeah.
So something like that. So yeah, it's just trying to figure out. Now I am a one-man person, a one-man show. So
I am also a one-man person.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
not a one-man show.
Yeah.
We have 16 employees now. I can't believe it.
And you've had some really great employees come through. I know I've met Colleen, for instance.
Colleen was our first chief engineer. Brilliant. She got, of course, a great job at Google. I couldn't get in her way. I couldn't stop her. But it took 4 people to replace Colleen, maybe 5. But we have built an amazing team. And everybody who works here, I consider them friends. I really love having them around. They bust their butts. They really care about what we're doing and about serving our audience, and so that's the kind of people I really want to work with. So we're very, very fortunate.
And what I like most about this is how open it is. I mean, we were watching the show, and it's like people are walking around. And right now, Brian Brushwood's trying.
He's doing a show over there.
He's doing a show, and they're trying to keep as quiet as possible so we can do this.
They're whispering. Why are they whispering?
I have no idea.
You can make noise, guys. I think one of the aesthetics that I wanted in this studio was I wanted to be our offices, but I didn't want it to look like this is a television studio, kind of a synthetic space where you shoot TV shows. I wanted it to be the working offices. I wanted it to look like the coolest place you could ever imagine working, and it just happens that there are some lights and cameras so that we can also do shows there. I really, again, this is like having the storefront. I wanted to feel organic, real, not synthetic, not fake. You know, one of the things I think that is the aesthetic of our network is we're transparent. We don't, we let you know everything that's going on. We don't hide anything behind the scenes. We break the fourth wall. We want people to feel like they're participants in what we're doing. You know, CNN has also an what they call an open studio. This technically is an open studio. But the people in it are fake. They're interns who are sitting there pretending to work. They don't want real workers there because they're afraid that something bad will happen, of a blow up or whatever. So it's still a studio. It's fake. But the original idea of an open studio was created by a guy named Moses up at the City TV in Toronto. And this was in the 70s. He had this idea of making his office be the studio. And I loved it. And, you know, I think this is what we've been trying to recreate here. One of the things Moses did is he had drops at every desk, like these. You can't see it, but there's a drop here with video and audio and Ethernet, and you can just plug in a camera there and go. And so that's what we did. We wanted to make this be a very functional space. In fact, it's turned out to be perfect, really exactly what I hoped it would be.
And I love the atmosphere. You got the gears. You got the tech right there. The clock. When did you put the clock in?
I just, you know, it was funny. Dick DiBartolo, who does a show called the Weekly Daily Giz, he's a gadget guy. And he just found these clocks at some trade show. And he said, "Look, Lee, I found a gear clock." And I bought 3 of them. I went hog wild because they matched the Gear logo. Now, the Gear comes from the old Screensaver show that I used to do on Tech TV. And the logo there had a gear around it, a rotating gear. And so when I talked to the set designer, we actually hired the guy who did the Screensavers set for that show back in 2002. And he came back, and I said, I don't want it to look the same, but I want to remind people of that. So we have these arches, which were also part of the Screensaver set, and we have these big gears, and that was a conscious attempt to not recreate the Screensaver set, but just to remind people of it.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Well, I'm amazed at how much you've done in a little amount of time.
6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And,
Hey, if you got $1 million in 6 months, I'll tell you what, I'll build you a studio.
Is that how much? Is that how much this cost?
Yeah, $1.2 million. Yeah.
And of course, you got all the bricks, which we've got. I did some video on that.
We raised, this is, you know, time and time again, the reason this network succeeds is because of our really loyal and devoted audience. And we raised $200,000 from people buying bricks. We're not a nonprofit. They understood that, but they wanted to support us. And I like the idea of them having a buy-in, of our audience having a buy-in to what we're doing and participating in what we're doing. So, and all of the bricks have messages. And when I get depressed or down, I just go out there and I look at those messages, and it just cheers me up. It's just wonderful.
Yeah, I never thought of that. I actually got like 4 or 5 people that said, "Can you take my brick picture?"
They're not all up there. There's only a third of them up. We got only about 400 out of the 2,000 up, so I guess there's only a fifth of them up. We've got lots more bricks to come. They take a while to laser.
Okay,
they have to engrave them.
Oh,
so there's more to come.
You haven't gotten
the
all the
shipments
bricks yet.
haven't arrived. We've put the bricks up that we have, and we haven't gotten them more. We should be getting more soon.
Do you have an expectation date of when all the bricks are going to be up?
Probably by the end of the year. Yeah, I don't know. You know, we went through a fundraising group called Fundraisers Limited.
Yeah.
They do all the fulfillment. They take a cut. But we made about $100 per brick. So I was very happy that you know, I didn't have to devote staff to taking orders, to getting bricks printed and all that stuff. So it's worked out very well. But it still takes a while to get all the pieces. That's all right. I got a brick I'm waiting on too. My brick's not up yet.
My brick's not up yet either.
Yeah.
I didn't get a brick.
Well, thank you.
I couldn't get a brick.
Oh,
so anyway, but we
man.
won't talk about that.
Your
One
brick.
thing I did want to mention was you were talking about the Kickstarter program on the show, and one thing that might be, a suggestion is that you start a show and you use Kickstarter for the funding.
You know, we were thinking about that. We actually approached Kickstarter about doing the brick, and they didn't want to do it. So I think because we're kind of an established business, they just turned us down. They didn't give us a reason. But I think Kickstarter is not for us. But I agree with your premise, which is because there are fixed costs to starting up a show, we are always reluctant to start a show unless we have a pretty good feeling it's going to do well.
Yeah.
So that is a great idea, is to let the audience kind of pick the shows and help fund the shows. I mean, it's something we've looked at and probably will do. I think it's a great idea.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Leo,
Nice
for
to
your
meet
time.
you.
Nice
Thanks
to
for
meet you
coming.
too.
Yeah.